It all started with a moment that would haunt Clara for the rest of her life. A moment that took place in a small Italian cafe tucked between two tall office buildings in the heart of the city. A moment when she screamed, insulted, and humiliated a man she believed was just a waiter, completely unaware that in less than 2 hours, that same man would hold her future in his hands. But let's go back to how it all began. Clara Stetson had been job hunting for months. A downsizing at her old company left her unemployed, drained, and barely holding her life together. She had maxed out her credit cards, her rent was overdue, and she was one utility bill away from losing everything. So when she received an email that morning confirming she had qualified for the final stage of interviews at Lexmont Innovations, one of the most competitive firms in the city, she felt a spark of hope. This job wasn't just another opportunity, it was her last shot. She dressed carefully. A sleek navy suit, hair pinned back tight, shoes polished, resume printed crisp. She wanted to look like someone in control, even though inside she was falling apart. But fate had a different plan. On her way to the interview, Clara's bus broke down. Then her rideshare canceled. Then she spilled coffee on herself. By the time she stumbled into the cafe to clean up, she was late, sweaty, and on the verge of tears. And that's when she met him. The waiter. Or at least, that's who she thought he was. He was a tall, calm-looking man in his early 40s, sleeves rolled up, carrying a tray of drinks effortlessly. He had a gentle face, the kind people easily overlook, but something in his eyes hinted at quiet authority. His name, though Clara didn't bother reading his name tag, was Evan. Clara rushed to a corner table, pulling tissues from her purse, trying frantically to fix herself. Her anxiety spiked as the minutes ticked by. She waved aggressively. The waiter approached, and in that moment, all her stress, fear, frustration, and hopelessness exploded. Finally, "Are you blind or something?" she snapped. "I've been waving for minutes. I'm already late because of this stupid morning, and now you can't even do your job?" Other customers turned to look. Evan froze not because of the insult, but because he recognized her face. He had seen her name earlier that morning, on the interview list. But Clara didn't know that. "I just need a glass of water," she snapped. "Is that so hard? Or do I need to teach you how to walk too?" Evan nodded calmly. "Of course, I'll bring it right away." His politeness only irritated her more. "Oh, don't pretend to be professional now," she scoffed. "I can't believe this place hires people like you." When he returned with the water, she grabbed it, muttered something under her breath, and stormed out, never once looking at him again. But fate doesn't forget, and humiliation has a funny way of circling back. Clara arrived at Lexmont Innovations 10 minutes late. She rushed into the lobby, breathless, makeup smudged, heart racing. "Interview for the operations manager position?" the receptionist asked. Clara nodded. "Please proceed to conference room B. The hiring director will be with you shortly." Clara straightened her jacket, smoothed her hair, and stepped inside. The room was simple: large windows, neutral walls, a long wooden table, and a pitcher of water at the center. She sat. She rehearsed answers in her head. She prayed that her morning disaster wouldn't show on her face. Then the door opened. She stood up quickly, adjusting her suit, preparing to give her best professional greeting. And her heart dropped. Walking into the room was the waiter. No apron, no tray, just a crisp suit, a leather folder, and the unmistakable presence of a man in charge. "Good morning," he said, voice calm, expression unreadable. "I'm Evan Lance, Director of Operations. I'll be conducting your final interview today." Clara felt the blood drain from her face. The waiter, the man she insulted, the man she belittled in front of an entire cafe, was her interviewer, her future employer, her judge, her fate. She swallowed hard, but no amount of composure could hide the panic in her eyes. Evan sat down across from her, opened the folder, and began reading through her resume. Silence stretched. Heavy. Punishing. Finally, he looked up. "Clara," he said softly, "before we begin, do you treat everyone with the same tone you treated the cafe staff this morning?" Her throat tightened. Her hands trembled. How did you... "I was there," he said. "You were speaking to me." He didn't need to raise his voice. His calmness was far worse. Clara felt her entire world collapsing. I'm so sorry," she stammered. "I didn't mean to. My morning was terrible. Evan raised a hand gently. "We all have terrible mornings," he said, "but they don't give us the right to diminish others." A tear slid down her cheek. "And if this is how you react under pressure," he continued, "how would you treat the teams you hope to manage? Or the clients? Or the junior staff?" "I'm not that person," she whispered. "I swear I'm not. I was desperate, scared, and I took it out on you. I was wrong." Evan studied her quietly. Most hiring directors would have ended the interview right there. Most people would have dismissed her, labeled her rude, entitled, unprofessional. But Evan wasn't most people. He closed the folder. "Sit down," he said gently. "Let's start again, but this time with honesty." Clara blinked in disbelief. "You're giving me another chance?" He nodded. "At Lexmont, we don't just examine skill, we examine character. And while today you showed your worst, I believe people can grow if they're willing to face themselves." Clara exhaled a shaky breath. For the first time, she felt seen not as a failure, not as a burden, not as an annoyance to the world, but as a human being who was allowed to be imperfect and still redeemable. She sat back down, and the interview began. Not with scripted answers, not with rehearsed confidence, but with raw honesty. She talked about her struggles, her mistakes, her fear of not being good enough. And Evan listened not as the man she yelled at, but as a leader evaluating someone's potential beyond a single bad moment. By the end of the interview, Clara felt lighter than she had in months. Evan closed his notebook. "Clara," he said with a small smile, "you're competent, resourceful, and stronger than you think." Her heart thudded. "But," he continued, "this job requires emotional intelligence, patience, respect, especially when things go wrong." He leaned forward. "Do you think you can grow in those areas?" "Yes," she whispered. "I already started today." He nodded. He stood. He extended his hand. "Then welcome to Lexmont Innovations." Clara gasped. "You mean I got the job?" "I believe in second chances," he said warmly. "I believe in who you can become, not just who you were this morning." She shook his hand with tears streaming down her face. And in that moment, she made a silent promise. Never again would she let her fear turn into cruelty. Never again would she belittle someone just trying to do their job. Never again would she forget the lesson the waiter, the man who decided her future, taught her. Respect costs nothing. Kindness is free. And humility can save your life. That day, Clara didn't just gain a job. She gained a new beginning, a new version of herself, one she would never have found if she hadn't crossed paths with the waiter in disguise, the hiring director who taught her the most powerful truth of all.